So today, our other special thing we have guys here that do attend Foothills and have been to GLS before. So that we have Ryan and Cam and Mitch, and so we're going to talk to them about GLS. So you guys, how many years have you guys been coming to GLS?
This will be my 5th year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this will be number 3 for me.
Okay.
Yeah, and as we were talking before, I wasn't sure, was it 4, was it 5? But this will be my 6th year.
Sixth
attending.
year
Yes.
this year. Oh, that's so awesome. So what keeps you coming back every year?
Oh man, just the quality of just the information that you pick up each time you watch. You know, I've gotten to the point where I sit there and I think, man, I could just write down every little thing that they're talking about, but then I just get so consumed by, there's no way I could possibly just put any of this to use. So each speaker, I sit there and say, I want to take home at least one thing that person says that maybe I can incorporate into my day-to-day life, my leadership skills. What can I take away? And it's just so much new content every time. And then the online stuff that they provide throughout the year, also another great tool that lets you just kind of keep going back to get more. So highly recommend it.
Wow, that's great.
I think for me, it's the idea that it's not only for business leaders or school principals, it's for everybody. You know, one of their taglines is that everybody has influence. And just recognizing that I can use that at home with my family or at my job with my coworkers, it's there's always good stuff that we can get out of it. Yeah, every year.
Yeah, and I think for me it's just an opportunity to grow. You know, to keep being a better father, husband, community member, you know, better follower of Jesus.
So during these years that you guys have been here, what are some of your key takeaways, your favorite inspirationals, whatever, what's your favorite parts that you get out of each year?
Yeah, so one of the things I was just thinking about, Simon Sinek, he'd had a deal, he talked about how sometimes we get confused where we focus on the what we do, not necessarily the why we do it. And once I was able to kind of see the way he put that into words, it really changed a lot of the way that I look at what I do. You know, I go to work to make money, you know, that's why we go to work, but why do we go to work? There's got to be a passion behind what it is that we do. And that passion inspires those around us and how they grow when they see us working because we have a passion. There's just tons of things like that I think that was one of the takeaways that I really got a couple years ago was the why we do things.
Wow.
I think for me, one of the speakers, Craig Rochelle, who's kind of the face of the whole Global Leadership Network, he's got a way of speaking that just relates to everybody. You know, I mean, he's not up at this level, but he meets everybody where they are, and that's just kind of inspirational for me too, just with the people that I work with every day. You know, particularly my family members, you know, my students at school, just meet them where they're at. And the other thing about Craig is that he interjects a lot of humor, which makes it relatable to everybody. You know, I mean, you know, as soon as they do that, everybody's drawn in, and that's certainly helpful too.
Yeah, there's so many different things, takeaways. You know, one at the very beginning, the first ones I saw, I can be very critical. You know, and I'm a problem solver, and so someone comes to you with an idea, and I always want to, you know, let's solve this, let's get into this. Well, I learned that when someone comes to me with an idea, instead of saying how are we going to do this, I say wow. I encourage them, you know, build them up, and we'll figure it out later. But I do that in personal life and everything else. Another one that came up just because of Dale's message a couple weeks ago on the whole judging. Okay, again, that critical nature. You know, we were taught, they did a study and they found out that if I'm judging you, 60% of my judgment is a reflection of me. It has nothing to do with you. And so that gives me kind of something I can work on. Like when I'm feeling critical or judging, I can say, do a quick prayer and what the heck am I, you know, trying to, God, teach me, you know, teach me what you're trying to reveal in me that I need to work on.
Oh, that's so great. So I got to talk to you guys first service, and all three of you knew what Getmo was. Can you tell them? Because I had no idea what that was, and I really loved that you guys all did. What is that?
So Getmo, good enough to move on. And what that's referring to is kind of the efficiency frontier. After a certain point, you start hitting a point of diminishing return where you're not being as productive as you could be because maybe you're getting bogged down in the weeds. And it's something that's so simple, but it just kind of blew my mind when I first heard it. It's like, oh, the aha moment of good enough to move on. We've talked about this point long enough. We're not getting any further. Let's make a decision and move forward. And I think that's one of the the best phrases I've ever heard. Get low. Good enough to move on.
I love that.
They reference that being a perfectionist, which is a character flaw. They mentioned that perfection is the enemy of progress, and so it was big in there. Like okay, sometimes I just have to finish it. Put that project to bed.
I love how you guys have all pulled something different, but then there's some other things that are just like uniformly resonate with all of you. That's so cool. So how has this impacted the way that you lead in your lives now?
Go ahead, if you want.
Well, really, it's given me different tools to use, in all reality, and just implementing those tools at home, at work, everywhere. It just, even an example is, I think it was the first GLS, they were talking about forgiveness, and someone had gone through a genocide and lost their family. In fact, the whole village that they lived with, everyone died except 4 people. And she was able to forgive those that did that. And that was tremendous. And then they suggested anyone who needs to go forgive or make amends to someone, do it now. And so I was able to get up and make a phone call and do that.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
I think for me, it's just kind of what I was mentioning before, is just being relational with people. It's so easy as a leader to feel like, we are going to do it this way. But we've got to be in tune with where our, I don't want to use the word followers, but the people that we're working with, just be in tune with where they are. I found that in my job a number of times I've kind of had to scrap plans that I had based on the needs of my students at school, and sorry, but we're going to do something different now. And I think that a lot of that has kind of come from being a part of this conference.
Wow.
Yeah.
For me, I think a lot of it is just, like you said, being aware, heightening my senses of awareness. God gave us 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 mouth. Sometimes we need to listen. We need to observe the people that are looking up to us for support, for leadership, and see what their needs are. And once we understand what their needs are, we can better supply the tools and the resources that they need, whether that's our kids, our coworkers. So I think that's one of the cool things that I took away from it, was just that I could implement in my day-to-day life, was just being more aware and heightened with my senses
Oh,
of
that
my
is so
audience.
great.
Yeah.
Wow, well, you guys have inspired, I'm sure, you've inspired me, and I'm sure they've inspired some of the people online too. Thank you so much for coming and being
Thanks
with
for
us.
having us.
GLS is coming this week, right?
This week,
yes.
Thursday and
Thursday.
Friday. So if you haven't been, or if you're coming, get ready, get excited.
Yes.
So thank you so much
Yep.
for joining
Yes.
me, you guys.
Yes,
Thanks for
for
having
having
us.
Thank you.